Welcome, friends, to the Great British Mickey Waffle. Wherever in the world you're joining us from, thank you for being here and for joining us tonight. And maybe for not watching Springsteen on a live feed from Manchester, but hey, that's another story. Our show today brings together a couple of our previous ones. We get an insight into what Epic Universe is actually like in person. And we take a trip back to Disneyland, which actually seems a lot longer ago than doing a live show last Wednesday. Join the fun, join the chat, and just enjoy as we explore all of that and more. Welcome to the Great British Mickey Waffle live.
Now my wheels in motion and my windows open with the wind blowing in my hair. I'm driving down the highway, gonna do this my way. I can feel it in the air. Here I
It's your Wednesday shared collective hug, and sharing that hug with me this week is not only a screen that's got a live stream of Springsteen and Manchester on, which I'm not allowed to put on live, and I'm bombarded with texts of what the next song is and things like that. It's been a bit of a frenzied last hour in this house because it's the first night of a Springsteen tour, and it's only 3 weeks until we go to Liverpool to see him. So.
Not long to go.
It's one of those ones which is really good. But welcome, guys. And actually, both of you, you should have your passports ready to get back in the show, shouldn't you? Because you spend more time away than I do, and it's good to have you both tonight. So,
all Robyn, I can say is that I'm glad that there's the countdown. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it gets you through. Yeah. I know, Robyn. Thank you for joining us. Always appreciate you being here. As we did Simon last week. We twisted his arm by text, and he joined us halfway through, which was great.
I was watching while I was in Florida. I was catching up.
No, it's good. And I know you had a brilliant time. We'll talk about that in a moment. But it must be good to be home. It's just like. Or maybe it's just coming home is the novelty factor because you've been away for so long.
Don't know what you mean.
Gets passport control. They go, "Oh, you're back home."
Oh, it's you again. Oh. And we've got Ben, and welcome back, Ben, because you guys, I don't actually quite know how you've managed to do this because I know when I go away, it takes an awful lot of readjusting in your mind.
I'm not sure what time zone I'm currently in.
Yeah,
there's this meme or there's something about being an exhausted pigeon, and that's currently what Becca and I feel like this week. It's just I'm not sure. It's like you get to work, it's like am I hungry for lunch, dinner, breakfast? Or I really don't know. But it was an incredible week, or 5 nights, and I have to admit it's definitely sparked a bit of a debate of like when we will be going back to the West Coast.
Right. So if you're watching, if you're in the chat, let's hold Ben to that, right? I'm going to structure the show. We're going to do a bit of news. We'll do a bit of Epic Universe, but then we'll start that debate as to whether or not it's Walt Disney World or it's Disneyland. And I've got some questions to ask you as well, Ben, because actually the live show last week was so good, and actually I'm very aware that we've got a lot of people who are either new to the show or are finding us for the first time, which is lovely. And it means an awful lot to us because there's people reaching out to us, especially on the Dib as well, which is great because although we've been there for about 6 years, it's great that people are still finding us. And I think that's a really lovely part of it. So we'll do that. We'll do a bit of news. We'll say hello to everyone in the chat in good time, but I'm gonna start us off. Should we get the news out? Let's get the news out.
There's been a lot of news this week.
There's always a lot of news. That's why
every time we think it's going to be a quiet week, by Wednesday, it's like, oh no, we fill a whole show on the news.
And then Josh D'Amaro comes out this afternoon, and I'm not quite sure what planet he was on, so I'm not even going to include that in the news because it's non-news.
Yeah. Well, we can touch on when we talk about Epic because that was all it was all about.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Definitely.
It's time for the news.
Also, I'm gonna have this out with you, Ben, because last week, right, when you were away, all them little links never worked, and it was just like, when you try, I'm looking at the very start of last week's show. I listened to the podcast on Friday, and it was one of them things. It's just like, oh my word, what a meltdown that moment was. Where it was just like,
I have to admit, the 10 minutes before the show started last week, I was like, oh, is this even going to happen?
I know.
It was one of those things. The Wi-Fi works, but I think that was as much as what we got.
Yeah, we got through. We muddled through.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the news. Halloween party dates are being announced, which is wonderful because actually we're up to an August the 15th start.
That's
Now,
one day after my birthday.
there you go. And actually, yeah, good. So you chuck them in as well. Note it on your calendar, guys. Ben's birthday. And there's an abundance of dates. I'm not gonna list every single one of them. However, tickets are on sale. If you're staying in a Disney resort, the tickets go on sale tomorrow.
Yep.
If you're staying off-site, it's May the 22nd. So I might even mention it again next week, as the fact that the tickets go on sale next Thursday. The biggest thing of all, and this is always the thing that creates the little sort of bit of unsurety about people. $30 price increase year on year, which okay.
But don't forget, John, you get a whole $10 off selected dates if you're an annual pass or DVC member.
So basically, it's still a $20 increase.
Yeah,
but it's only $30 on the most expensive date, isn't it?
Yes.
Which you think obviously is going to be Halloween because it caught us out last year. Because when it all got announced, we went in end of September. So when we were looking at when it was announced as starting at $119, I thought, oh, that's good. I'll budget that.
Yeah.
But when it got to the date we're choosing, it was closer and closer to Halloween.
Yeah.
So it was like end of September, and as soon as you get into October, it goes up even more. So it's one of those that. What's the maximum it can cost this year?
$229.
$129 for 5 hours.
And then you got tax to pay on that as well.
Mm.
So
okay,
yeah,
I'm going to have to bring a few more bags to get my money's worth of candy.
But do you want that candy? It's American candy. It's not that great, is it? Let's be honest.
Oh,
it's fine.
I don't know. It took us months when we came home last year to get through it. It was
That's
it was
because
worth
it was
the
gross.
It was worth the extra suitcase in itself, you know.
I think what struck me about this is there's nothing new added to it that makes me go, oh, this is worth going for. There was a little bit of an accidental leak by Disney where the new Pirates bar, is it the Beacon Barrel, I think it's called, that they included that is when you'll be able to book reservations for that for the party.
Oh,
they have now removed that from their website.
Oh,
so I'm wondering whether it was a slip up that it'll be coming soon, but I don't think they wanted to announce it.
They weren't ready to announce it.
Because when that got announced, I told Becca, this is a reason for us to do the Halloween party. I'd like to go to that bar. I was like, but I don't know. Let's see what Disney say over the next few weeks about that. But let us know in the chat what you think of the Halloween party. Have you been before? Are you going back this year?
Are you going back this year, Ben? Because you're there in August, aren't you?
Yes, we're there in August. I might be convinced to going as we're going. There's a family going, so there might be a reason to go back.
Yeah,
and we did it very different last year. We didn't have the
conversation about it.
Yeah, we didn't have the Magic Kingdom ticket. So
and that's I think that's another game breaker as well, because actually, if you haven't got a ticket for that day, it kind of makes sense. But if it's on top of a 14-day ticket, you then
Absolutely.
really start to wonder where the value comes in it and things like that.
I like Sean's
I'm,
comment. 3 things are certain in life at this point: death, taxes, and Disney rinsing us compared to last year.
Absolutely.
yeah. Stay positive, Sean. That's all I'll say. That's it. But yeah, I'm with you.
And you can see it. It's like
But we've had that conversation as well at home, because actually I think this is for us. And again, only 2 of us going this year. So again, we're at that bit of what excuses can we get away with the fact there's only 2 tickets rather than 4? And actually, I'm with you. I actually think unless there's something completely different, I'd be inclined to go and watch and listen to the fireworks from either TTC or from one of the hotels. I just don't think there's. I don't know. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe
in 2022 we went in October. No, sorry, 2023 we went in October, and instead of the Halloween party, we did the fireworks cruise, which was on a party night.
Yeah.
So we split that amongst the family we were with. So we found that was better value to go do the fireworks and
that's a good
do
call.
it that way. It gives a bit of Halloween. But yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's one thing, and Heather, yeah, you said right. August is too early to do Halloween, but it's mainly for people like me who holiday in August, and then we bring all the stuff back, and then we can actually put it out. We just keep it for the kids who come and knock on the door, trick or treating, but just get rid of this
crap.
Get rid of it. Oh, it's lovely. I like American Sweeties, I've got to say.
Depends what you end up with.
Yeah, but you've got
Skittles gummies are really nice.
Yeah, and then the other gummies are not very nice because they taste of mentholyptus or something. They can't remember the brand, but they didn't agree with me, I must admit.
Tell me again what they taste of, John.
Mentholyptus.
Love it. Yeah.
Horrible. Yeah, I can still tell. I actually got that taste and smell in me. No, it's not good. Not good. No. Anyway, let's move on. Food and Wine Festival. New dates, August 28th, which again, they knew when I was going home because we go home on the 27th.
Oh, we go home on the 29th.
Yeah. So we made it by a day last year. So 28th of August through to November the 22nd. That's an awful lot of food and wine. Like, really,
it is.
All I'm saying.
But people spend a lot of money at food and wine booths, so I can understand it from a business point of view.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Totally. And it kind of epitomizes exactly what Epcot's about. So I'd never criticize it because our experience of it last year was just incredible. And I'm just gutted I won't be able to do it this year because we went the very first.
You never know. Sometimes they open a few the day before.
Yeah, it's not the same though, is it? The one thing that
it's the day when all the vloggers turn up.
And that was the bit that was really good because actually, not only did I meet Robyn, there you go. So met Robyn, I met John Self, met John Sakiri. Was it whatever his name?
Yeah,
Big Fat Panda. Big Fat Panda. But you're going around and you're actually part of everyone's live vlog, and it was a day to absolutely remember, and it was just such a. I actually can't wait to actually write about it in the trip report because it was one of those days that you go back to when we started this, and I would never ever have experienced some of the things that we did because people were recognizing us because of the show, and that actually, so for my kids, that was quite a scary experience. It was just like, people know him because of off YouTube. Just like,
John, that's just because you're handing out like beer mats.
I'd run out by then because we were going home the following day.
I'm pretty sure you gave me some that day.
Yeah, I just had beer mats for anyone. That's it. Oh, it was cool.
Right, I have to say, John, I had a few people message me, and I was included in the backs of people's vlogs from that day. A few people from
it's so funny.
They were like, "Is this you?"
Yeah,
in the background.
I'm gonna have to do that in August. Yeah, because it's on the 28th. We go home on the 29th, so I'll pencil in that date for our plan.
And some of the food was brilliant. Speaking of food, I'm just going to a last. I should have the last post in the background. On Sunday, we said the final farewell to Mama Melrose in Hollywood Studios. And actually, a fair play to the cast members in there because they actually closed the doors. And the final family that walked in got an absolutely brilliant reception because someone thought to put it on the internet because actually that was pretty good. Speaking of which, not this time, so you don't miss us next week, but around about midnight UK time, next Wednesday, Universal have just announced that they are doing a live stream of the actual official opening of which I thought was pretty impressive. A live stream of Celebration at Epic Universe. It's not the actual opening as such because it's going to be 7 p.m. but they've got a blue carpet at 6 p.m. Celebration begins at 7. I think basically they're going to just milk the whole of next week, and I think.
And why not?
I just don't. I just, yeah, exactly. And why not? I think that's probably.
It's been such a long time since a new theme park has opened.
Yeah, and I think
anyone to experience and with not. It's difficult. I think.
Yeah, I think they got it right though, and I know we say this an awful lot. Their social media has been absolutely brilliant in setting all this up. I would hasten to add they were a little bit quiet on the plumbing issues at the Heliosis this week as well. They kind of went a bit AWOL on that. But going back to the Josh DeMauro press conference this afternoon, I'm not going to swear, but you can tell him he's absolutely beefing it about what's going to happen this summer. It's just like
there's some good deals for Disney this summer.
Yeah. But
I think when we booked our tickets, it was like I haven't seen prices for tickets for UK ones down to £420 per person for a long time.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, and going by what Josh DeMauro said earlier was that what the impact of people coming to visit Epic Universe, that they will also visit Walt Disney World if you're coming a long way to visit. But actually, will you? When you think how much things cost, and if you've got to make that choice between is Epic Universe going to make Universal a full 7-day trip? Because
I think it will.
We were talking before the show started that you're going to need more than one day at Epic.
At least one, and there's 2 other theme parks there. Then you add in Volcano Bay. You've easily got a week, at least a week's holiday just at Universal, and Disney should be quaking in their boots.
I think that's a lovely. I was going to describe it somewhat differently, Robyn, and actually you'd be very succinct and actually very on point in a very polite way, and I like that.
It's the perfect time for pre-watershed.
There we go.
They will be quaking in their boots. I was thinking that line in, was it National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, when it was about the bit about bricks. Yeah. But we'll leave that for another time. And I know, and I want to move us on. And actually, I think it's a perfect time, since we're talking about Epic Universe. Robyn, you actually managed to get a sneak peek on your latest extravaganza to Orlando, which I'm mightily jealous because was it 3 weeks you were there?
It wasn't intended to be 3 weeks, but
that's what everyone says.
It ended up. I ended up changing my flight home to look after my friend's dog for her while she went on a cruise. So I stayed at her house, and that is actually how I ended up at Epic Universe, because I couldn't have. They released preview tickets while I was there, and I already had plans on lots of these days. So my friend Adam had actually messaged me while I was there saying, you need to go if you can make it happen. And I looked at booking a hotel. At first, they released it for if you booked a hotel. So I looked at the hotels and talked about it and decided against it. So when they opened up the tickets, you could just book a ticket and you didn't have to stay in a hotel. It seemed like the perfect opportunity, and I booked it for the day that my friend got off her cruise, so that her dog wasn't on his own all day. So it just worked out. It just worked out for the best.
That's
it was
really
meant to be.
It's really nice of you to do that, and actually, I think that is such a lovely thing for you to be able to do.
Oh, Sean's comment, isn't it horrific when you have to stay for another week to dog sit? It was such a hardship.
Yeah.
I didn't mind at all. So, and it didn't cost very much to change my flight. So, I love. She's one of my best friends, and yeah, it was lovely, and it meant that I got to enjoy some downtime, which I wasn't at the theme parks all day every day, and enjoy Epic, which was. I will avoid saying it was an epic day, but it was.
I'm just thinking everyone's going to be calling all the videos and vlogs. Everything everyone's going to be using. It was an epic day.
I've seen it a lot already, and already people are saying, I'm so overseeing. It was epic, ready for an epic day. I mean, the thing is,
I think that's going to be like Universal's thing,
Yeah.
live stream next week. How many times they can get epic in this live stream?
Absolutely. Oh God, can we do a dangerous drinking game? Every time they say epic, you got to take a sip.
Oh, we should do that.
But yeah, it was incredible.
Really?
It really was.
Honestly, this is a bit. I'm intrigued by this now, because actually, I know we did a show a few weeks ago. We explained exactly what the place was all about. I know some people didn't watch it or listen to the show because they don't want spoilers. But actually, spoiler alert! I'm going to put it out there. Robyn, you can share whatever you want.
Okay.
Because
I didn't know how much to share.
I think you can, because actually,
I think it's going to be difficult going over the next few weeks. That no matter how much stuff you try and close off from, it's going to be everywhere. And I think that's the downside of algorithms, social media, and just the way advertising works now.
Yeah.
The more you try and avoid something, the more it might appear on your feed.
Yeah. I had managed to avoid everything because I was a little bit like one of these people. And then when I found out I was going, I had that mad panic of, I need to know what the rides are, because I need to know what is going to make me sick and what isn't, because I get motion sickness. Yeah. So I read up about all the different rides. I didn't necessarily watch videos and things. I just read up what kind of thing they did, and if it's a roller coaster, if it goes upside down, how many times, and motion simulators. So I had a little bit of an idea without having seen lots of videos and pictures. So I still went into it semi-blind. But it really was. I mean, there are common flaws that people talk about. One being there's no shades. They've planted lots of trees, but they're not big enough yet to provide enough shade. And I think it's something they need to think about, because it's very warm, especially in the Nintendo area. It's very, very warm, and it's closed in. So the heat just sits there. And we're only going to get hotter. We're already warm, and we're only going to get hotter. So I think there needs to be something done to try and help that. The other flaw for me was we didn't go to a single ride and were able to ride it. It broke down. Okay. Every single ride that we went to broke down, and we got a return. We got a return for them, or for another ride. But every ride we went to queue up for broke down.
That's interesting, and it's going to be difficult, because it's like they've opened it to more people to go and sort of view it as previews in like the technical rehearsals that they're currently in. Yeah. So it's like, how much stuff can they do? Because I know that I think this week they've closed down the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah, they announced that on the Thursday, and they announced it was going to be closed, and I was gutted, and then I found out it was closed from the Saturday. So I did get to ride it.
Wow, that's the ride that I can't wait to go on.
So do you know what? I've been told by someone who works there, so I believe it. Yeah. The queue line holds enough of a queue for 8 hours of queuing.
Oof. That's a whole lot of queuing.
I think it's worth it.
No.
The ride is very good, and as someone who does suffer with motion sickness, and there is lots, it's all screens. It isn't too jolty and too throwing you around. Okay. You put your bag at your feet, so that should tell you how much you throw around.
Okay.
But it is worth going inside the Ministry of Magic. Is it Ministry of Magic? That's what it is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's definitely worth going inside there. Even if you don't do the ride, it's worth it. They've got all these offices that do different things at different times. If you stay long enough, you can watch them do things. It's really special.
It's our must attraction of the whole park. It's the one thing that when Epic Universe was announced it was opening this year, we've gone like, okay, because of that attraction, because of Harry Potter and how big fans we are of it, we need to go.
Yeah.
So, and it was like, okay, well, we're in that debate of like, if we're only going to have one day in this park in August, what do we queue for? How are things like virtual queues going to work? Because I know that attraction has operated with virtual queues.
Yeah. Not once it opens. Yeah, when it opens, it's just going to be a regular queue.
Right.
Yeah.
So, do you want to wait 8 hours?
No.
I'm not sure.
Becca
I'm not sure. I think it's worth it. I'm not sure. I think it's worth it. But the whole area, I really think also that the people I was with, none of them have seen Fantastic Beasts.
Okay.
And it's very heavily influenced by Fantastic Beasts. That's where the inspiration is from.
Yeah.
So I would say watch them before you go. For example, there's a show in there that is circus themed from the movie, and they were all going, well, why is this circus here? This seems weird. It's like, you have to see the movies.
Yeah.
So it was, the whole area is incredible. I mean, they've done Harry Potter before and they've done it well. It's on par. It's just as fabulous. There's lots of things to see in the windows, and
it's like if you're a Star Wars fan and you walk into Galaxy's Edge, you're amazed by everything around it. But if you haven't seen Star Wars, you walk in and you go, it's all right, I get it.
Well, they all thought it was beautiful still, and they got most of it, but they didn't get like just the circus part. They're like, I don't know why it's here. There's also so much entertainment everywhere. There are street performers everywhere. There was a jazz band that just came out and started playing at one point.
Disney,
this is just
are
in
you
that
listening?
area.
I was thinking the same, Ben, as well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like really, everywhere you went, there were people. There were auras just lurking in corners that were there to talk to you. But that went for all of the lands. There were lots of street performers around doing different things or doing live statues. There was so much of that to see. Now, I will say the previews are capped at a quarter of what the park holds in capacity.
Okay.
And the queues were long, even then.
Okay.
So I think you'll need more than one day at least if you're going.
I'm going to pick up on something that was it Jacob said in the chat, right? And this is exactly where we're at with this, because actually I'd love to go, and you're making me want to go. I'm looking at the queue times when it actually opens to make the decision of what Jacob says. So he said he's going to leave Epic a couple of years until the next Orlando trip. Do you think we're making a mistake skipping it this year?
Oh.
And I actually, I don't want you to answer that, Rob, because I don't think anybody can actually answer it. But
I get it.
I'm in that position, and I'm exactly the same as to.
Yeah.
I think Sean said he's having the same debate as well, and can't decide. We're the same, and I actually feel that it's going to take probably at least a month after proper opening to make the decision as to whether or not you can soak up the queue time wait, or whether you just push it back, maybe push it back another year or 2 years in Jacob's case, and just decide I'm not going to use that one opportunity. And
it's difficult. It really is.
It's really hard.
We've got one day booked in August, and we've said that we want to do a second. But I've said what we're going to do is our plan is now to go and do that one day and see what we get done. Because what I don't want to do
towards the beginning of your trip, then.
Yeah, we've got one in the first few days.
Yeah.
So we're there for 16 nights, so we'll have enough time to add one on at the end. But it's one of those that actually by when we do that day, we can work out, is it so busy that actually we're not worth spending another sort of day in 8-hour queues and come back when we're there next year, because we've got a trip booked next year. We're doing a cruise. We're not going to do the parks very much, but actually we might book a few days at Epic.
Yeah.
around it.
Yeah, that's a tough one, isn't it? Because you could say next year we'll stay on site and we'll do a couple of days there.
Yeah.
One day, I mean, I didn't see everything, and we had 0.25% of the crowds. So I didn't see anything. I think had I had 2 days in previews, I'd have seen most of the things I wanted to.
Yeah.
Maybe even gone back for a couple of things to try that I didn't get. With the queues being that much longer, I don't know. I know how expensive those express passes are, and they don't include 3 of the major rides. But is it worth spending 2 days, or is it worth saying, well, we'll go one day
and one day with express,
and use the extra money for express?
And that's a conundrum because for 2 of us, we're then up to £600 for one day. Now, that for me it is such a crazy mixed up sort of feeling that you get.
The thing is, when you get into next year, your ultimate ticket, so your 14-day universal ticket, is multiple days. You're not limited to one day on that 14-day ticket.
Yeah.
So that comes into it from January 26th.
Yeah, that's definitely worth thinking about. It's all these things. Yeah. It did blow me away. This is the thing. It really did blow me away. I thought it was magical. I really enjoyed it. I didn't get enough time to spend in the Celestial, I think it was called.
Yep, Celestial Park.
Yeah,
I didn't get enough time to explore there because we were going, and because the rides kept breaking down, we were zigzagging constantly backwards and forwards. Oh, it's opened up. Right, quick, let's go back. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
If we hadn't been doing that, it would have been better. And we spent an hour eating some terrible, terrible food. It took 45 minutes to come out, and it was cold and gross. But that was at Toad's Cafe. Toad's Cafe.
Okay.
And I think everyone's kind of said the same, but I've been avoiding all the reviews, so I didn't know that it wasn't rated very highly. We did have some really nice food in the Tavern Blade Dark something.
Was that in the Dark Universe?
Yes.
Yes.
The Tavern in the Dark Universe. We had some really nice food in there. So, and it was cheaper. We were like, oh man, this is cheaper and it's way nicer. Don't you hate it when that happens? Yeah, it was,
thank you for being the sort of the test on that, Robyn.
Yeah. Don't go spend a fortune. I mean, we made the mistake of what we see now I've read more. Everyone goes to Super Nintendo Land first.
Yeah.
So we were with everyone else and it was very busy. Then 2 of the rides there weren't working. So everyone was queuing up for this Yoshi ride that was basically like the People Mover. 40 minutes in wouldn't do that again. But we did get to ride Mario Kart later on, which was this Nintendo girl. It was everything I wanted it to be. It was really, really good. And there's a Donkey Kong ride, which is a mine cart, which again
looks amazing. It really does.
It was really good. In fact, we got out and there was 2 minutes to the park closing. We all looked at each other and were like, yeah. We got in line again.
Did you do much was it Isle of Berg, the How to Train Your Dragon area?
We did. We saw the show there, which was just amazing, and I cried.
Yeah.
And I've only seen How to Train Your Dragon once, and that was the first film. So even I cried, and I thought it was incredible. We did the roller coaster there. Again, they were having issues.
Oh no.
They were having issues with one side of the track with those trains. Only some of the rows were working, and they were having to move people around. And unfortunately, we'd been sent to that side, and we were getting rather annoyed when we'd been stood there 40 minutes. Whereas the other side next to us were just like filtering
walked
through.
In and yeah.
I had to get to a point and say to one of them. I mean, we were all getting pretty annoyed, and I had to say to one of the guys, "I think you need to start pulling people from this side now because we haven't moved in 10 minutes because there's been issues. So can you speak to someone?" And he went away and they've got little headsets. He was like, yeah, you're going to come this side now. I was like, why did it take a customer to say that? Why did nobody go, oh, these guys have been waiting there for ages. I think we should do something, but it's still
someone who couldn't make the decision, and it's
yeah.
But this is all the stuff that they need to work out before
absolutely
the park opens.
Exactly. We did want to ride the flying thing contraption that kind of goes round, and it's one of those things
that looks like it'll make you ill.
It actually looks okay. You don't go upside down. You can stay right side up.
You can stay right side up. Yeah, I've seen people turn.
Yeah, no. I was going to
stay
the right side up, but again, it was one of those ones that we went to, then it broke down. We had to leave, and we also went on the water ride there. It's a dueling, like a Viking ship, and you sit there's a bench in the middle, and you duel against the people who are sat behind you, and you have to hit targets, and they get wet, and vice versa.
Oh, I like it.
And I didn't know that we were really good and that they were really bad until we got off pretty dry, and they were like drowned rats on the sides. These three old ladies. They were very gracious. It was a very warm part of the day. They were very gracious. They were like, clearly someone's a good shot over there.
Oh wow,
that's really good. I like that Universal have sort of pushed the technology on so much with everything that I've seen, and when videos started leaking out about all the attractions, I've tried to avoid spoilers, but then I want to know more about the park. So you go down that bit of like, I want to know more about things. So I've then ended up seeing more, but actually I just can't wait to go there and just see it. And we know we've already paid for this one day. So for me, it's like, we're going to go and do it to the best that we can. We're not going to pay for Express. We're going to just take it a bit like we took Disneyland and gone like, we're going to go and explore something new, something different, and then see what comes from that. Yeah. Because we're there for 16 nights in August. We've got enough time to add an extra day if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's definitely the way to do it, I think.
Yeah.
You don't have to rush to try and do everything. And especially if next year it's included in your park tickets, you just think, well, this is just a taster, and next year we're going to be able to do more.
And I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the annual passes for next year, because we've got annual passes that expire in October. Yeah. It's like, okay, well, how much more would it be to add that in, or out comes a spreadsheet to work out what's going to be the best value?
Yeah. How much are they going to go up to include Epic next year, or will they do one?
Or will they carry what they've done, where you've got like a 2-park, 3-park, and just add a 4-park? Just have that additional option, because we went for the 2-park because we didn't want to do Volcano Bay.
Oh.
So
we
go to a 3-park, but choose Epic and not Volcano. So
we'll see. We'll know more later in the year, won't we?
Yeah.
I've got a watching brief on this, because actually I really do feel that it is just, if it's operational when it's at full capacity, I think we'll go all in for August. If it then has issues when it gets to full capacity, I think I might just take a step back and just take time to breathe, let them sort any issues out, and then go from there. But it looks amazing. Is there any one thing that really stands out to you, Robyn, as just the one thing that you would say to anybody that you can't miss whatsoever?
Oh gosh. I mean, my favorite ride, it was probably Mario Kart, because I love Mario Kart. I love playing it. I've loved it since I was a kid. So that was probably my favorite ride. But the standout for me was the entertainment that was everywhere. We know I'm a girl who appreciates live entertainment. I appreciate music. I appreciate stuff going on, and that to me was the magic that's currently missing in Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
So that would be the standout. That's the thing that I come away with. But that, or just going into the Ministry of Magic, going through the green fog to get in. It was just, I hadn't seen any of it, so I was just blown away. I thought it was great.
I've only seen one picture, and I've been blown away by just the whole enormity of it. The whole the whole thing just looks incredible, and I think, you know, part of me just wants to put. Part of me is just going to spend the money, and part of me says, "Look, just be careful."
Give it a few weeks, John.
Yeah.
Then you'll once it's fully
think
open.
so.
Yep.
I think
we'll know what to expect.
Well, I think
know how bad
Claire's
it's
going to be there first of us in August. So I
Yeah.
think for Epic Universe. So if you have to leave it to the very last minute.
See what
Yeah,
Claire
well,
thinks.
See what Claire thinks.
Mind you, some of the days are sold out
Yeah.
already. I'm sure.
I know, and that's the
Yeah.
problem, isn't it? It's trying to, and they also use dynamic pricing. I know Simon, who watches the show usually with his family, they were looking for either end of August, start September, and actually noticed that the price that they'd first seen for their dates had crept up.
Yeah.
Quite a little bit, yeah.
I think
So
they've been tweaking their
daft.
seasons of like what's peak and what isn't.
They're not daft.
Because I think the reason why we booked the date we did in August was because a few days before it was like $10 more per person.
Yeah.
So it was like we went for that because it was the next of the cheapest.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens.
I've just seen Heather's asked, did I like Dark Universe? I did. I didn't ride either of the rides in Dark Universe, I'll be honest. One was closed for the day. There was quite a few rides that were closed for the day. And the roller coaster there was closed. Not that I would have ridden it anyway, because it spins as it goes round and nobody needs to see the contents of my stomach.
It looks like an outdoors version of Guardians.
Yeah. I'm good for that. The other one, I'd heard that it's a little bit like Forbidden Journey. So I'm a little bit nervous because I felt quite ill on that in the past. However, my friends went on it, and given what we discussed and like they said about it, I think I probably would have been fine. But it was getting on during the day at that point, and it was like, right, we've got an hour left. What are we doing? Quick, let's go. So
yeah, when things go wrong, like rides close, it's like your whole plan changes. And like you said, you're going from one part of the park to the other.
Yeah. And we did do that quite a few times, zigzagged forwards and backwards, which wastes a bit of time. And it was frustrating. I will feed it back to Universal. They've sent me a review, a feedback questionnaire. So I will feed that
was
back.
the what was it? I can't remember what I was going to say. How did it feel, the size of the park compared to Disney parks? So when you think if you're exploring a park, because that's something you can't tell from the vlogs and videos, like how long would it take to get from one side of the park to the other?
It's smaller, I would say, than most. Maybe it's very different because there's one area in the middle, and then it's like spider legs off of it into different worlds.
Okay.
So it feels quite like everything's close together, but I'm not sure it's as close as you think, because you'll think, oh, we'll just get out of this land, and once you're out of that land, it's like, well, I'll just walk over there and I'm in another land. The Celestial Park area is quite large, and I think that could swallow up a lot of people. And I would love to just sit there with a book or sit and grab a coffee, and they've got lots of little food places and drink places around there, and watch the fountain. There's like, gives Epcot fountain vibes if you miss the Epcot fountain.
Okay.
It's nice to sit and watch, and my friends sat and watched because they waited for us on a ride.
Don't mention the Epcot fountain. No, we got away with it a few weeks ago.
Yeah. I wonder where the Universal got that idea from. Fountain, water, relaxing area.
I don't know. Music, like water dancing. I don't know where they got that idea.
No, who would have known? And then who would fill it in?
No idea.
We'll go back on that one. Yeah. So Robyn, I actually don't think we've given that many spoilers away. So I won't.
I don't think I've given too many away. I tried not to.
I won't even put a spoiler alert on the podcast version of this as well. But I'm thrilled that you actually had such an amazing time going there. You're now officially the very first one of us to have been there. And actually,
who would have thought? Me, a Disney girl through and through.
I know.
Universe.
Yeah.
All from extending the trip.
Oh, I mean, that always happens.
Yeah, true. Well, you've got a question though. Did you meet Toothless?
I didn't. And that's one of the things I'm very sad about. I would have loved to have met Toothless, but it was just
Yeah.
there was 5 of us in total, and I'm not sure anyone else was that bothered. And you try.
I think
and
it's
kind
one of the things that
please
Becca and I are
everyone.
going to be queuing up for.
I would have queued up for
Yeah.
it. I would have queued up.
We've
for
only
it.
just recently watched How to Train Your Dragon films.
I mean, they're pretty good. Well,
Really
the first one was pretty good. The
Surprised me how
show,
good they were.
the show is, yeah. I mean, I went with my friend Jared, and we said like it finished, and we're like, oh my god, that was so good, was it? She said, that was good. I was like, yeah, I cried at this bit, and he was like, me too, and I was like, of course you did. Of course you did as well.
Oh, that's so nice. It really is. I love stuff like that.
I would definitely see the show, even if you're not. I mean, the show storyline is maybe a little weak. It's not bad, but it's worth seeing. If you've only got time for one of that or the circus show at Harry Potter, I would say do the How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay.
No, that's good to know. It really is. And actually, thank you for the way you've actually presented all of that as well, because actually, I don't think anything of what you said is actually any different than what's publicly out there, and you haven't really
tried to stay spoiler free. I'm desperate to say everything.
You've done very well with that.
If you have been avoiding it like I was, then at least you can listen to the show.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Totally agree. But thanks, Robyn. And actually, have you got another trip to Orlando or anywhere else Disney wise planned?
I haven't. I've got no Disney trips currently booked, which is very sad. I know, not really. Actually, no. That's not true.
Give it time, Ben.
It's not true. I'm going to Disneyland Paris at the end of June. But Sam and I are actually off to Efteling next weekend in the Netherlands. So
that'd be nice.
Yeah,
that'd be great, because that's another theme park they can actually just compare everything with as well. Like,
maybe we need a show just not on Disney for once.
I think we could do that. I think that's definitely on the table as well. I think I chat with Simon last week. I just think it's one of those places that, particularly with prices at Disneyland Paris at the moment, I think people are looking a little bit further within Europe as well. So it could be one that we could push people from the UK towards there as well.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not been too expensive, I will say.
Yeah,
it's been
exactly.
pretty reasonable.
Now, speaking of different parks, right, and this would probably just be. I actually feel that this will end up becoming like a future mid-month show, purely on the fact that Ben and Becca managed to go to Disneyland, and you've probably got 101 things that you want to share.
Yeah.
I've got some questions, because actually I just think it's quite an intriguing one to actually talk about. Just before we do, it has been remiss of me, because I haven't mentioned anybody in the chat, and I did say I would. So I'm gonna rattle down now. Heather's still with us. Sean, I've always appreciated you being here. I think you're still with us. Jacob's with us as well. We've got Colton, Hannah. I'm going right down the list off YouTube. Sean again. And actually, conversation in the chat. This is what makes Wednesday so worthwhile, because you guys start sharing different ideas, different topics crop up there. Wendy made it as well, so thanks, Wendy. We really always appreciate you joining us. We had Surf Bum John. Thank you for joining us. Always drops in and hasn't for a while, so noted. And the chat was just being on fire. So this is what makes it so special, and it also means we've got James has just joined us in the chat then as well.
I just want to highlight something actually that's not on the chat, that was on our Instagram from a show we did a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
so someone who just finished listening to this episode on Spotify on their way to work.
Yeah,
I've been loving that bit of Disney escapism before having to adult for the day. I feel like I'm joining in a lovely group chat about what I love every time I listen. Thank you for this, and I love this episode.
Oh, so there you go.
That was from B in Disney 8 on Instagram, talking about our favourite park icons.
Oh, cool. No, and again, yeah, I actually feel that the love that we're actually getting at the moment from so many different people. I was going to finish the show with this, but I'll put it in now. But I know there's people who've been listening to our actually listen to the Waffle Junior show. They've only done one. They're going to record another one tomorrow. But they've actually listened to, I think, some of the previous podcasts that we did about the Disney College program. And they've actually reached out to Josh and asked about his position of working outdoor vending, because I think it was their daughter has actually been allocated outdoor vending in Magic Kingdom for this summer. And we're a little perturbed at Josh's experience in Animal Kingdom, but just want a little bit of reassurance. And that bit of being able to communicate back to us is actually such a lovely thing. So we really appreciate it, but we also appreciate just how many new people are actually watching and listening to the show. It really, it means a lot to us, because actually,
and that's whether you're joining us live on a Wednesday, whether you're just catching up on the podcast, and also as we're doing this, might as well talk about this now. We've got a brand new podcast out tomorrow. Chloe and Stephen from Parks and Pals joined us a few weeks ago to talk about their top tips for Disney Universal. And I know they're currently they were at Epic Universe yesterday. And I know when we recorded this, we were talking about how excited they were. And we talked briefly about Universal UK, and just it was a nice hour-long chat that we can't wait to have them back on the show at some point and see what they think of Epic.
That's brilliant. It really is. It's nice. And I think that's what's a real, for us, is really nice, is the fact that there's a lot of different people and different chats that we're having. It's always good, because it keeps it all fresh. Now, here we go. Disneyland. Because last week you were in Disneyland, and it actually seemed much, much longer than 7 days ago. and that's for me. You, it probably only seems like yesterday, but
the jet lag's still around, so I don't know what day it is.
Those extra 3 hours, right?
Oh,
they just kill you.
I don't know how people travel just in general. This is the first time we've gone on a longer trip that's more than 5 hours time difference. And I have to admit, shout out to Virgin Atlantic. Incredible service. Amazing on the way there. Great seats. We were on the A350-1000. The cabin crew were amazing. We were in economy, but it was brilliant. We even paid to upgrade on the way home to premium. And I have to admit, it was worth it. It was nice, because even Becca got a chance to sleep on the flight, which doesn't normally happen. Nice. Our flight home was at 20 to 11. So we landed back in the UK at 5 p.m. So literally it was like, get home, have food, go to bed.
Yeah.
Which actually helped.
I was going to say, I like those flights.
It helped, but the problem is we then had a lazy day on Saturday just catching up on the TV we missed. And we said, we probably should move off the sofa by Sunday. That didn't happen. So we just and then it's like, oh no, we've got to get up and go to work on Monday. So it's like, it's the week's catching up with us. So it's Wednesday now, so it won't be long for the weekend, and we can get back to normal.
Yeah. Can I just ask as well, because this is a bit that intrigues me, because normally if I go to Orlando, I'm quite happy in doing the DIY stuff of just going with the book me flight. I can book me accommodation, and I do it all myself and things like that. How did you go about booking this? Because if you go for 5 days, you want to be absolutely on point, and you want to be maxing out as much of the park time as you can. So did you do it DIY?
No, but we planned to do it DIY. That was the whole plan. So we'd done what we always do: load up Skyscanner. Other flight search engines are available, but we went through trying to work out what dates we wanted. Which, due to annual leave, we wanted to go over the Maybank holiday. So we knew the dates we wanted. So we got price of the flights and gone, okay, that's the price of flights. They didn't change very much. But then it was when we looked at the hotels. Originally, we were going to rent DVC points, but the problem is the company we were using, we had paid the deposit, but then they didn't have points available. So that all went a little bit wrong. So it was like, okay, well, let's go back to, we haven't booked flights, we haven't booked anything else. So we were waiting for the accommodation. And at that point, we'd gone like, what's near? We went onto Google Maps and gone, well, that's the Disneyland Hotel, that's the Grand Californian. How long does it take to walk from there to there? And then we used that as a sort of guide. So we looked at all the hotels in the local area. That took roughly 10 minutes or so, 15 minutes walk. Because I have to admit, as soon as you get out of Disneyland, there's so many hotels in the area. It was a 10 to 15 minute walk from the Sheraton hotel that we stayed in. But the reason why we booked it as a package was I looked up the Sheraton for those 4 nights, and it come out on their website for $3,500.
Oh, wow.
And I thought, that's really
Wow.
expensive.
Yeah.
Comparing to the flight price and that, went onto Virgin Holidays website, typed it in, saw what hotels were available, and it was like, okay, here's this one. There's a few that were quite far away, but it scrolled down further. At the bottom was the hotel we were looking at. The whole price for the flights and the hotel was £1,700.
Wow. Yeah.
So it was like, I'm
It's a
either going to
no-brainer.
book it direct with Virgin Holidays, or do I book it separately and spend several $1,000s on the hotel on its own?
Yeah.
And then £1,000 on the flights. It made so much sense for us to do it that way. And then we just booked our tickets through attraction tickets. And we linked them just on the Disneyland app.
Right.
And we had our magic bands linked to it. So we were just able to, literally, when we got there, we booked for 5 nights. So we had the 5-night ticket, the 5-day ticket. So we had enough time in the parks. The first day when we landed there, we got there about we landed at 1:15. Used the NPC app to get through immigration in 5 minutes.
Amazing.
And that was just, I couldn't believe it. After all the news and everything you hear about what it's like traveling into America recently, it was like, that was always at the back of my mind. And I thought, well, let's see what it's like. We did the NPC app, especially as we had new passports. If anyone who didn't know of our issues with passports over the past few weeks, where we had a couple of awards damaged, it was like, I thought, if something's going to go wrong, it's going to go wrong. But no, NPC app was perfect, all ready to go. Went through it, picked up our bags, and we were at the hotel an hour before they would let you check in.
Oh.
So, but when we got there, and he said, "Like, no, there you go, your room's ready."
Oh,
So
that's good.
it was just relief. It was like we were finally there. And it was like we didn't have park tickets for that, so we were just like, we need to go get some food. We just had to wander around, worked out where downtown Disney was, just to get our bearings of where everything is for the next morning.
And how much do you want to go back to Disneyland now?
We are currently looking. Let's put it that way.
Gets you, doesn't it?
It
Disneyland
really
is
does.
something special about it at the moment.
It is. We saw World of Colour. Absolutely incredible on our first night. The trick we noticed, and we didn't do it by the end of the trip, which we regret doing, is because of the jet lag and the time difference, going to the park early, it's quiet. Get to about 1-2 o'clock, go back to your hotel room, have a nap. Your hotel room for us was only 10 minutes walk away.
Yeah.
So, and it's not like Walt Disney World where I felt you're on a bus for half an hour and then you've got to try and find where your room is. It's a lot easier. Everything's so close.
Yeah.
We didn't pay for the park hopper ticket because we did 1 park per day. But on the first 2 days, we did do Lightning Lane for each one. And it works so much better there than it does at Walt Disney World. We pretty much did everything apart from Incredicoaster on the first day, because as soon as we got to it, it was raining. So we thought, I will give that a skip because I don't really want to go on Incredicoaster and get soaked. It was so we didn't do that, and we didn't do the Big River Run. I think it was the
Misty River Run.
Yeah, we didn't do that one.
You didn't want to get soaked on that either.
No. So, but there was so much to do, and 5 nights was perfect. We're looking at probably doing 6 nights next time.
Would you add in Universal Hollywood?
Well, talking of that, I've seen on TikTok, I was following somebody who said how easy it was for them to get the train from Anaheim to up there, and it was about only costing $25. So actually, the cost of that seemed to be something we're going to look into. But whether we just have a day where we just like not do any parks and just have a rest in the middle, instead of what we might do is buy a 2-day ticket, have a day break, and then a 3-day ticket.
Yeah.
just to break it up. But I have to admit, there was a bit part of the way through the trip, just after the live show, where we looked at each other and gone like, they were a bit parked out.
Yeah.
And it was just because we didn't realise how close everything was, that you could go from one thing to the next. And it was brilliant. It really was. And I know that 70th stuff started all this week. So we've missed all of that by a week. But I have to admit, I'm glad we saw what we've seen. And there will be vlogs, there'll be more podcasts coming up about what we did, but there was so much, and it was emotional seeing this.
Yeah.
And it's made me really want to do the is it the Walking the Walt's Footsteps tour?
Yeah.
I think it might be under a different name now, but that's something I really want to do, and just leaving the park in the evening and just seeing how many people actually pause, look at that, and then leave the park.
Wow.
Surprised me. And I know we mentioned it earlier, live entertainment, Disneyland has it.
Yeah, I mean, even theirs is less than it used to be.
Yep.
And they still keep cutting stuff.
But it's still more than what Disney
more.
World has.
Still more.
We saw the
characters.
flag retreat. We saw the band 3 or 4 times. There were so many different things. There were different bands and different music in different areas of the parks. So whether it was in California Adventure, I was just amazed. I know it looks a lot like Hollywood Studios from that picture. It really isn't. But there are aspects of it that remind me of Hollywood Studios. But it did take me a little while to get confused.
Could be.
Yes. Or what it's meaning to be. And I like what they've got planned for. There are some areas that I think that need work in both parks, but that goes with every Disney park. There's always ways that we want to improve. There's always room for improvement.
So now you've done, what is it, 8 parks worldwide now?
It's really
take me to Abu Dhabi.
No. I mean,
at the minute,
you've done the 2 Disneyland Paris, the 4 at Walt Disney World, the 2 at Disneyland.
Yeah.
What's your favourite that you've been to?
California Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hands down. The feeling we got after watching World of Colour and Pixar Pier, the Avengers Campus, walking. I'm not sure whether I got it on video or not, but as soon as we took the turn into Avengers Campus, it was the Avengers theme started as soon as we walked in. So it was just perfect timing. And then we just stared and looked at each other, and like Becca was crying. It was that perfect moment. It was, just incredible memories.
I've just seen Hannah's question. Did you do the swinging gondolas of death?
No, we watched on from afar. we watched on from afar. It was like
I'm not brave enough for those either. Well, they've got sick bags in there. Nope, that's it for me. No, I don't want to go on there.
But the cast members.
Hannah's other comment as well was the park what you hoped it would be, and I think that for everybody is that whole thing about going somewhere different and going somewhere out of your comfort zone. And I'll let you answer it, but I know what the answer will be.
Disneyland took a little bit of a while for me to get, if that makes sense. Walking into a Magic Kingdom, you've got Castle, you've got Main Street, but actually the more time I spent in it, the more, bit like your quote, John, of like pause and let the magic come to you. We didn't get a chance on that first, because we had Lightning Lane. It was like, okay, we want to do this, let's book this, we'll go to this. There was a bit of like toing and throwing. It was like we got a chance to go on Big Thunder Mountain, which out of the ones that we've been on, Walt Disney World's probably at the bottom, Paris is at the top, and California's in the middle. But there's so many classics, but California Adventure exceeded expectation. Disneyland by the end of the trip was really, really good, and so much so that we're trying to work out how we can fit it into our plans.
I think that's fascinating, because I know, Robyn, you guys have been there, and it now becomes, even when I speak to Simon about it, it is that bit. It pulls you back in a different way than Orlando does.
Even with the time difference, I'm like, even though we're totally wiped out this week, we're thinking like, okay, we can get a 6-night trip in sometime next year at some point.
Is it the type of place though you can go for 2 weeks, maybe longer, or does the hotel cost kind of prohibit that?
I wouldn't say it's not a place you need it. Okay. You know, when we talk about Disneyland Paris, that you can do it in a couple of days, 3 days probably, that sort of try and get the feel of it. It's that sort of scale, so everything feels close. It even feels closer because you don't. With Disneyland Paris, you have the hotel that you walk through. I have to admit, it is literally Disneyland is here, and you've got California Adventure there. They are literally opposite each other.
Yeah. You could make, if you wanted a 2-week trip, you can make a 2-week trip out of visiting California. Yeah. But I mean, Disneyland only sell up to 5-day tickets. They don't sell longer than that. So that'll tell you really how long you need to really do Disneyland. Yeah. You can easily make it into a longer trip. You can go up to San Francisco, you can go to Vegas, you can go to Palm Springs, you can drive down to San Diego. You can just spend the time at Universal, downtown LA, explore Hollywood Hills if you want to do that. Go to Yosemite. There's so much in California to see if you're prepared to hire a car. Yes. It's a little bit more difficult if you don't like hiring a car. Yeah. You can get to other places.
I think our plan is to try and build in a little bit more of relaxing time.
Yeah.
And I think not that we regret doing what we did. I think there were just times where we thought, actually, we were on a holiday. And I think this goes for anyone who visits a Disney park. You get to that point where it's like you're going from one attraction to another, but you don't get a chance to have that rest time, where we're looking forward to going back to Walt Disney World this year because we haven't done the 4 parks in a couple of years.
Yeah.
We've got that time to sort of, it's more of a resort holiday where you can just go back to your hotel and rest in between it. Yeah. But I know there's a few comments of the additional of the news last week of the Abu Dhabi. It's interesting. We had a good old chat. Well, while we're in the queue last week, it was like, oh, all this news is coming out about Disney. When I thought there was some, I'm torn with it. There's so much stuff that I don't want to delve into now. Yeah. But I don't think this park is aimed at us. And I read a quote from some. I read a quote from somebody. Yeah. It's about they don't have any Disney representation there. So actually, they've got no Disney park for them to go to. So the way to look at it is that they're going to have a Disney park that they're going to be able to go to and see Disney. Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
And it's most of it's going to be indoors as well.
It has to be.
But it didn't. But they didn't announce that at the time. It was only when we got to about Friday or Saturday, then it's going to be indoors. I've got it's not. I don't think it's for me, and actually, I don't. I think we'll get to a point at some point in the future where we do a show, just basically talking about exactly what it's all about. But until it's built, let's park it to one side and just.
And the things that might come out from it might be quite good, because actually, if Imagineers have got a blank canvas or something they can do, could they replicate this into other parks? All I can think of is Imagineers, if you give them...
Just like they've done with Japan, they've brought all of that stuff to us,
exactly.
Could do, whether they choose to or not. Remember how long it took for us to get Tron?
Well, that was from Shanghai,
Yeah, and that took 6. How many years did that take?
Yeah. The less I'll say on it, the better. Put it that way. I have strong opinions, and they are not positive ones. Other than I will say, money talks.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly.
But any other questions, John, from Disneyland?
Yeah, and this is the one that I think is possibly the one that you probably will come back to in the podcast as well. Now, you got to see Cars Land in Disneyland. How will that look within Magic Kingdom? Because fine well, I do not want to lose what is there right now. However, you've got a different spin on it, and I would love to hear that.
It took the first 15 minutes of us walking through the ride, through the land, to go, this is interesting, this is different, this is slightly different to what we expect. Cars in Magic Kingdom is going to be different, but if it was me, I would pick up that exact attraction and chuck it in the Magic Kingdom where it is, because I think it would fit perfectly.
Absolutely.
They don't need to do a new attraction, they need to copy what's there because it works. It is not Test Track. It is something better than Test Track. It uses the same technology. If they could just take the essence of Cars Land and put it in the Magic Kingdom, I have to admit, I was someone who was against them changing it, because not that I'm the biggest fan of Tom Sawyer's Island, I just don't think Cars fits with next to Frontierland. And I think Disney World have messed up with Tiana's Bayou Adventure, because it does not fit next to Frontierland in the way that it fits in Disneyland, where you've got Bayou Country. And that fits so much better. But that's just my thought on that. But then it's like, it feels like you're going to have beyond Big Thunder Mountain, you've got Big Thunder Mountain, you're going to have Cars, which does fit together. The colour scheme is going to work. But also, I'm not sure. There's just parts to it that Imagineers will work out and have to find a way. But there was just so much at Radiator Springs races. It was just incredible.
I've said from day one, I can see it fitting there in Magic Kingdom. I am sad.
If I would have changed it though, I would have put it in. If they weren't doing anything to Magic Kingdom, I would have taken a bulldozer to Launch Bay and just put it in there. Because the thing is, you've got Pixar, you have Toy Story, you've got Monsters Inc. in that. It would have been good, but you'd have the room to put it there.
Yeah,
not this Little Mermaid show.
Pixar. Park. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree. I think it would be good, but I can see it. I can see it going where it's going to go. But I'm very sad to lose the River Bell, the Liberty Bell. We often go on it. I've only been to Tom Sawyer Island once, so that'll tell you how often I go there. But I think it will change the vibe of the park, and I'm a bit sad about that. It's the only ride that my nan went on when my nan went to Disneyland all those years ago with her friend. It's the only ride they went on was the boat. So there's a part of me that's sad. But then, do you know what? There's a part of me that goes, I can still go on it in Disneyland though. So it's all right.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
But when are they going to bulldoze that stupid Launch Bay area? Come on.
I don't know. When all the stuff about Monsters Inc. and we're going to take the Muppets out, and it was like, really? I just don't think. I think probably for quickness, it's easier for them to do that, because you've got a restaurant area already in that place, where over the other side you don't. There's probably certain facilities that we've got more space here. Maybe they are limited on Launch Bay, but then
maybe
I can't wait for D23 this year, and I know it's going to be the weekend we come home, so I'm probably going to be in that jet lag state of like, I'm going to stay up and watch it.
Yeah,
they've always good. That I like that.
They've got to announce something. Come on, Disney. Look at Epic Universe. Use that as an example. Bring us something new that we want.
Hold your breath, Ben.
Oh, I'm not. I was like, I'm looking forward to all the new things that are going to be happening in Disneyland that were announced last year, from the Coco attraction or the Avengers the Avengers attraction and the Tony Stark Iron Man. I can see the expansion to Avengers Campus coming together. I don't know. I think Walt Disney World is going to be a place that we'll visit, but we said is going to be in every other year, or maybe once every 3 years.
Yeah.
Ooh, strong words.
I think that is possibly quite like I say, in the 6 years we've been doing this, that is possibly the most profound thing you've actually been forced into saying. Because
all these people I see that are going to things like Tokyo, Hong Kong, Shanghai, there's bigger things about Disney World. I absolutely love Walt Disney World. It's home, but there are just, we were talking while we were on the trip, like, when was the last time we went to Disneyland Paris? The music festival there is calling my name. But then it's one of those ones, once we've worked out the cost of a Disneyland Paris trip, actually, how much more is it just to do several days in Disneyland?
And that's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah. I would much rather deal with the jet lag and spend, I don't know, up to £500 more and have a few more days and be in Disneyland, which sometimes you get better weather.
It's not always.
I have to admit, we did get, was it May grey? So the first 3 days were grey.
Yeah. That was our first trip. It rained every day.
Oh no, we didn't. We only had rain for like half an hour, which was when I wanted to go on the Incredicoaster. But other than that, but yeah.
We had rain all day and it was cold. I was like, "What's happening?" And then the day we left, it was beautiful sunshine.
we didn't take the warning of the splash zone in that was fun. But yeah,
it was half the fun. That's half the fun, getting a spray. You get like a little shower while you watch the show.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Now I just again, I just feel that it's just a trip of a lifetime. And the way you're talking about it is very possibly the same way that probably most of us went on our first visit to Walt Disney World as well. It's the fact that it's completely different. There's no tried and tested way of actually getting from one side of the park to the other. And it just draws you back. Just like Robyn and Simon want to go back as well. And I feel that for me is the bit where it kind of widens your own horizon as to where you go and get your Disney dream and your Disney magic and your Disney fix. And if they don't manage to get it right within Orlando, you at least know that you've got that little bit of historical magic that will forever be Disneyland. So I think that's...
And the cast members there, the photographers are incredible. We've had so many great photos, and this goes for all cast members. There's a huge shout out to everyone that buys a Disney company that just make the magic for everyone's holiday.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah,
I've always said that it's not about Disney corporate. Don't care about us. Cast members do.
Yeah,
they make magic.
They do, and I think, and again, I think that's really important to actually hold within everyone's heart, because there are cast members there. We've got fellow presenters now on our Junior Waffle series who were cast members who have got that exact sort of feel. Irrespective of the experience they had, they still want that magic to remain alive for everybody who they came into contact with last year, but they want to share it as well. And I think this is where the whole tradition part has to continue. If the people at the top don't understand it, everybody who listens to this, watches this, we all will. And I think that for me is when you know that you've actually got that. I think they call it the Disney bug, isn't it? Like, you just sort of, you want to uphold everything that's gone before. And I think the people at Disneyland have actually, they understand exactly that. If you missed our live show from last week, go and have a look. It was so good. Actually, once we finished, I actually went back and watched it again, purely to actually just see some of the detail within the park that you were very kind enough to give some of your holiday up to actually share with us, Ben. So for you and Becca, I really appreciate you doing that for everybody, because it was interesting, because the numbers for last week's show was absolutely off the scale as well. So, but which shows people love live bits from the park, and if we can just share some of that on a Wednesday with everybody, then we just take it back and just.
I'd happily be in Disneyland every Wednesday going live, but
I think it'll be quite good. I don't think it'll get past the boss on the expenses front, unfortunately.
No. So I'll fly economy. I don't mind. Just going to get the annual pass, and under expenses probably wouldn't work.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. I'm going to wrap us up, guys, because actually, again, we plan to do an hour. We always go long. It's always such a lovely thing to do on a Wednesday. It makes you wake up on a Thursday and then think, oh, it's nearly a weekend. And then you listen to the podcast on a Friday and you think, we're nearly there. We're
almost there.
Nearly conquered the week. Everyone in the chat, I every week I'm absolutely flabbergasted by just how many people are actually interacting and actually sharing this. I know that people watch on the catch up. We appreciate watching or listening on the catch up, and we just appreciating all the love that people are showing for us. And it really, I don't know, we're about to celebrate our 6th anniversary, and it becomes quite a lovely feeling that we're getting, that you guys are giving us so much so many comments and so much love, and that it just adds a little bit to the spirit of what we do. And like I always say, if you didn't do that, we'd still do this anyway, because it's just nice talking.
We just like to chat to each other, don't we?
It's nice talking on a Wednesday.
I've just realised what you're drinking, Robyn. Is it Bucky's?
My Bucky's cup.
Cool.
Place I've never been.
That's on my list.
Best drinks cup I've got.
It's on my list for the summer to go to Bucky's as well.
I was meant to go on this last trip, but then we had a text that our room was ready at like 11 o'clock in the morning. We were over at Vero, and the pull to Bay Lake Tower was just too much, and we abandoned that idea and went straight there.
Maybe I could do a filming of a Bucky's when I'm there in August. That might be a good one. I might be a while. I might be a while. That's a problem. Cheers, guys. Thank you both very much. It's been an absolute pleasure, not just talking about Epic, but also talking about Disneyland. And actually, I know we always say these shows end up costing me money, but actually, I think perhaps tonight it's going to cost me on both fronts there as well. I think so. If you haven't already, make sure you do check out our latest episode, which is out tomorrow, and everything that we've got on YouTube. You'll find us on there. We've got Spotify, Apple Podcast, and basically pretty much anywhere else that you listen, or just go and ask. And I can't use the word because it will set off my smart speaker in the kitchen, and just tell it to play the Great British Mickey Waffle. It's always quite good fun when it does that halfway through a show. If
I can say there's not one in my room. It's Alexa.
I'm not even going to go there, Ben. It's just like, I can sense it already. It pings up at the wrong time. If you did enjoy tonight's show, I know loads you have already. You've left us a like. You've given us a thumbs up on the show. Hit the subscribe button. Drop us a review. Also, if you subscribe, your phone will actually ping up every Wednesday at 8:30 when we go live, so you won't miss it. And we'll be back next week with more news, Disney dreams, and probably Universal ones too, because it's going to be a big Universal week next week. But just a massive thank you. And again, for those who have joined us new, for those who've been from the very start, from those who joined in the middle as well, we really appreciate your support and for being part of the Waffle family. Until next week, from all of us at the Great British Mickey Waffle, we'll see you soon.
We'll see you real soon.
Now my wheels in motion and my